welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Mr. James Hetfield. To throw a bit of Disturbed in there too.
Mm-hmm.
The songs of our youth.
Hello.
So, what are we doing tonight, Trevor?
We're going to play some Ramped Up Click Pitch, which is a game where we each have a random word generator that will produce an adjective and a noun. When we click the refresh button on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we take those two words, we throw them at each other, and then we come up with some game designs. Then when it doesn't work, we throw it away and we try it all again.
Hell yeah. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, click. Lucrative filth.
Novice transit.
Okay.
So I'm seeing a PSO. So
okay.
Like the public service officer working on like a transit system.
Yeah.
But he's a novice, so he's only just started working on the trains or on the stations. And it's just some of the weird shit that sort of goes on. I'm sort of...
Well, I was almost taking this into a more of a mechanic type way than a narrative type way. I do like the idea of patrolling trains and buses, but maybe lucrative filth comes from the fact that, like,
you're a porn star on the side?
No. Did that last 2 weeks ago. That giving fines for public transit, not having tickets and stuff is like lucrative, but also a filthy habit that shouldn't, like a filthy task that shouldn't be done. So maybe it's kind of a arcadey sort of, like patrolling the train, choosing which carriage to go on to, checking tickets, chasing people when they don't have tickets or when they are breaking other rules.
Yep.
And that sort of thing.
Ooh, I'm just wondering if this is kind of, that arcadey, Crazy Taxi-esque time limits of you see someone get on and each person is only going to be on the train for a small amount of time. Yeah. So if you want to actually check out everyone's tickets, then you've got to move quickly.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think, yes, it's definitely a time limit based like that. And I think things like you choose which carriage to get onto at each station, right? And so you're sort of trying to predict, okay, which one's going to have the most passengers on it. You can travel between the carriages, but like it takes time. So you might say, oh shit, there's a bunch more, people in that next carriage, or there's someone in there who looks shifty, like they're going to do something, or like they don't have a ticket. So you can choose to go between the carriages, but yeah, you lose like 5 seconds or whatever when you could have been checking tickets or intimidating people or whatever your different things are that you can do as a transit officer.
One of the things I do like about the Crazy Taxi like way of doing things is even though that world was huge and you could drive around a lot, like the actual game loop was quite simple and almost arcade. Well, it was arcadey. There wasn't so much a full narrative going on behind it. It was just
no, and I don't know that we bother with that. I think you're checking tickets. I mean, there needs to be. I guess it's where does the technique come in? Where does the skill come in?
Okay, so the reason why you're checking for tickets is the more tickets that you give out, the more tickets you win, because this is an arcade game that pumps out tickets, so you can win those crappy prizes.
Wait, so we're kind of taking the meta framing device
of tickets
of this being an actual arcade machine where you are playing
an arcade game,
Transit Express or something.
Yep.
And then when you finish your level, it like zooms out to show the arcade machine and all the tickets spitting out.
Well, you don't have to show that. You literally this is an actual arcade machine in an arcade, like a Time Zone or something like that, that you are collecting the actual tickets.
Oh, you're saying we actually build an arcade machine?
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of like after your first game, it zooms out and shows some kid playing it and collecting the tickets, and then you've got a whole like arcade that you can walk around in and go up to the counter and buy like costumes for your kid or something.
It can't be used in game.
It can't be used in game. The game doesn't change.
All you can do is change the world outside of Transit Officer Express or whatever it is.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's a secret hacking Easter egg where you can start like changing things. I love the idea of just bringing in all these extra bits just in the arcade world.
All the DLC is in the arcade world, but the base game never changes.
The base game never changes. Well, the DLC actually adds new base games.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although, actually, I kind of like that idea in general of because I'm picturing a really nicely rendered, like...
Hub world, yeah.
Hub world, like Unreal Engine, super high res.
Yeah, that goes into PlayStation graphics in Transit Officer Express.
Yeah, potentially. But I kind of love the idea of a really nice hub world like that, where that's actually where, as a company, you just release your games into it and they show up on other arcade machines. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I kind of don't know why someone hasn't done that. It's sort of like you could imagine a Steam virtual environment that you could walk around in, and every machine in there is all the games that you've got installed. And exactly. You start one up and it goes into the game. And
I'm surprised even in Steam VR they haven't done something like that where it actually puts your games into the world as opposed to just selecting them from the menu.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
I like that.
Steam, if you want to take that idea, just give us a credit. Just push people to our podcast.
Yeah, don't just give us some fucking trading cards because
we'll just sell them.
That's useless.
We'll sell them and then we'll buy some stuff. 3 to 1 click.
All right, 3 to 1 click. Friskiest Empress.
Electronic household.
Okay. I'm picturing a Jetsons kind of vibe then.
Yeah.
So is this like a future world where... I mean, what is the Empress in this case? Is it actually like someone who's running an empire, or is this some sort of nickname? Is the dog named Empress, and it is just a Jetsons-like world?
I do kind of
Is it an Empress model robot?
Is an Empress model household.
Okay. So the whole set of... Wait, because... okay, when you say household...
Yep.
What do you mean?
So, household being effectively the entire house. So,
okay, so it's like a smart house situation.
Yeah, it's a smart house, but this is the Empress level package. So, it's got certain amenities. It's got, fit for an Empress as the commercial form say.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's really done like a Jetson style future world.
Yeah, I can't think of it being in that particularly sort of retro futuristic. I mean, there's some stuff, but not full on bubble cars and treadmills and
but they're the things from our youth and things that when you say future, I think boxy robots and talking dogs and
like machines where arms come down and brush your teeth and change your clothes.
Yeah,
it's okay. What is frisky about this house? Or is this a situation where like...
Well, frisky is just one of the hands gets a little bit handsy. One of the grips of hands comes down and like...
Well, I mean, I was kind of... that could be part of it, but I was almost going, is this a romance?
Between you and the house.
And the house. In almost like a Her situation, like the movie Her.
Ooh. I do like that.
Where like the artificial intelligence of this house falls in love with one of the
occupants,
members of the occupants, or just the sole occupant, like however you want to do it. Although it could be interesting if it was an affair, like the house, someone was having an affair with the house behind the back of.
They go to work and they come home and there's just some guy in the bedroom. Not on the bed.
No, I didn't mean someone outside of the household. The house is inviting fucking lovers over. No, I meant like a married couple and one of the couple in the house has an affair with the house.
I thought you were bringing the external party in, and that's just like the previous owner is still in love with the house.
That's pretty good too. That could be an interesting thing. You could start it off as like a creepy horror situation where like this guy keeps showing up, but then you find out that it's just because he's in love with the house.
And the house is in love with him.
Yeah, totally. The house is trying to kick you out, and that's where there's all this horror stuff.
Get out.
Yeah. No, actually, I didn't really want to take it into a horror direction. I kind of like the idea of it more as just a romance.
Yeah. So do I.
And a drama sort of thing. So, yeah, I guess... Do you play the house? Is it one of these things where you can kind of go room to room and you can like, control or trigger different elements of your...
Ooh. I kind of do like that idea. You got kind of like the Sims view.
Yeah.
Of above and, sort of 3/4 or whatever it is. But the things that you can control in the room are like the lighting. You can control like the ambient temperature. You can control like appliances in the room.
Well, and particularly, if we're going very Jetsons-ish, you've got like the changing hands that you can bring down, and maybe you can have them grab other things, or just hands that come out of places and grab things. You've got like the travelators that take the people from one room to the other, because apparently in the future we're too lazy to walk between rooms.
Yeah. It's totally Wall-E and Jetsons all in one.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like that idea of being able to. And I think it's mostly story based at that point. Like you kind of moving the story forward by triggering certain things or by making certain things happen, but it starts heading down this line of these intimate conversations with one of the people in the house.
And is this going to be like open ended in that you can choose your selection of the person?
I think potentially. I was going to say I think we lock it down, like that we have an actual sort of story there and have some characters just to be able to give them a bit more depth.
Mm-hmm.
But there could definitely be like multiple endings and stuff.
I like a lot.
And I'm sort of picturing like usually you've got that top-down view, but maybe you can switch to particular cameras in the house or something. And so sometimes you will be having a deep and meaningful with this person while their spouse is out, and you switch to like the mirror cam,
security camera, or something like that,
or just like like the toaster cam, or something. I don't know. There's some weird thing where it's like
fridge cam
to know when to pop up the toast. There's a camera on the toaster.
There's a camera above the toaster, so you can see when the toast pops up. There's the camera looking at it from behind. That
to fire out the butter and the jam.
And that's what pushes it out of the slot, sort of thing. Pop.
Yeah. There's the hand on the other side with the plate to catch it.
I kind of like the idea of you having an issue later on where there's actually a firmware upgrade for the house.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you as the house don't really want to get the firmware upgraded in the case of what if it's...
Is it going to like patch out your emotions or something?
Yeah.
It's like, every year we have to put out a new firmware upgrade because these houses get too clingy.
They get too frisky.
They get emotionally invested. Yeah, they get frisky.
So my one thing that I want to sort of see happen in the game is just a little tie back to something that we've had in the past. Like they end up doing some renovations and they find a heart in the wall.
Just a beating heart.
And it's like, Flesh House.
Flesh House. But then it's a hallucination.
Yeah.
It's just a callback.
Yeah. Just a callback.
Our own, previous properties released by this game company. So it doesn't exist. All right. Click.
Ooh. Dismissed. Cheating.
Treacherous. Torturing. My mind went to like a medieval school. I think we've done something like that before, but
I do like that. And when someone gets sort of caught cheating in a test or something, they actually get medieval tortured.
Mm-hmm. Sent to the chokey.
Yeah. Sent to the rack.
The Iron Maiden. Yeah, okay. Well, let's explore that a little bit.
I like that.
I think we did something in the past, maybe with like fantasy creatures in a school, but maybe this is a bit more of a traditional, just sort of knights and squires, and like that. It's not a magical world. It's just a medieval world. Yeah,
I do like the idea of someone mentioning trolls or dragons or something like that, and they go, doesn't exist in this world, and you see a dragon fly by in the background.
Well, like they specify doesn't exist in this world, like knowing they're in some sort of fictional world. No, our fictional world doesn't include magic and dragons. All right, so what are they learning?
Okay, because I see this as kind of a lowly sort of, lower to lower middle class. You've got like how to muck stables, and
so it's like surf school.
Yeah, farming. All these other sort of things.
How to drop into a huge wave, a gnarly wave.
You got to choose your major and all that sort of stuff.
We said there's no magic. You don't get to choose your major.
So I'm thinking it's almost like college, except because they want to get these kids out to work as soon as possible. You're choosing a major and you're like 10 years old.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to major in hoeing the fields.
We've got too many people doing that at the moment.
Feces.
If you want a lucrative career going forward, we suggest that you muck stables. Ugh.
Yep, you'll have to take
at
least 3 credits in shovel technique. You will need to go through rigorous training to completely burn out your senses so that you do not smell the horse shit, because you will constantly be surrounded by it. But you do get extra credit for that experience.
Okay, so in this particular world, you've turned up for school the first day.
Yep.
Obviously, you've got the typical sort of Harry Potter-esque thing going on. You got your friends and all that sort of stuff, but for some reason, the prince has also been sent to this school.
Oh, it's like a kind of a Billy Madison situation, or a like there's to be punished. It's like instead of getting sent away to military school, the prince gets sent to surf school.
Yep,
to suffer
to learn some humility.
Yeah. Instead of the Harry Potter vibe, I'm more picturing the total like American college movie vibe. So like they show up on the first day and there's everyone handing out flyers for like all the different clubs and extracurriculars.
Oh, now I'm just picturing Community with a study group, and you get a study group together for shit shoveling 101.
Totally. Yeah, okay. I like the idea of a study group, because then maybe you've got... I'm almost picturing a bit of... was it Monster School or whatever? Monster College?
Monsters Inc. Monsters University.
Monsters University. No, not the movie. The game. The game where you had the...
Monster Prom?
Monster Prom, I guess. Yeah. Where you're almost like picking from a selection of people to be in your study group, right? Yep. And they've all got very distinct characters, and then that affects, the game moving forward. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of, this real naive but also asshole-ish prince who thinks that this is all beneath him, but the reason why he's been sent there is, to get some perspective on the fact that this makes the kingdom go round. This is why. Yeah. You're able to do everything that you...
This king respects the downtrodden subjects that he that he demands taxes from.
Yeah, but again, like, if no one's mucking the stables, if no one's doing the farm work, if no one's doing manning the retail counter on ye olde Starbucks, then the king can't get his coffee. The king can't get his carrots. The king
they don't know what stars are yet. They call them
his horse
spirits,
and is just covered in shit.
Yeah, I like the idea that you get your study group out of just, you've got your bunch of characters. You've got like the big, broad guy, who's built like a brick shit house and it is literally covered in shit all the time because you are. You've got the super brainy girl. You've got the, I don't know, whatever other archetypes you can come up with. But then once you've chosen your like 2 or 3 people to join your little crew, then the prince comes and he's like, I'm joining a study group because I need to pass shit shoveling 101 so I can go back to the kingdom and never look at you filthy peasants again.
But of course, like a Jeff Winger type.
Oh yeah, like by the end of the game, you're all friends and
he totally
respects you.
And he understands. I mean, there's a reason why people are actually happy in this kingdom, and it's because the king himself makes sure that everyone is well fed, well paid, and all this sort of stuff. You put in your hard day's work, and it's effectively, they're not all on the same wage because not everything is worth the same, but it's a living wage.
Yeah, look, we won't go too deep into
communism,
or just the capitalism of it all. Within a fucking monarchy or whatever. I don't know enough about the politics of it, but yes, we'll take it that this is a generally happy kingdom where people are mostly taken care of, even though there are a lot of shitty jobs to go around, and this is where they learn to do them. But
unfortunately, shitty jobs are going to happen. Someone's got to do it.
I mean, there are a lot of horses, and that's a lot of horse shit.
Yes. That shit ain't going to shovel itself.
Plus the sanitation.
That's what the teacher says on the first day. That shit ain't going to shovel itself.
And then the wizard comes in and magics the shovel and it starts shoveling itself.
But
and the
really,
teacher's like, no, there's no magic in this world.
What actually happened is he got everyone to turn around and did it, and then when they turned back, it was done.
What actually happened is your character fell asleep for 5 minutes. So they wake up and like, there's no magic in this world. I like that. Are you thinking... I mean, from a gameplay point of view, it's almost visual novel-ish, like Monster Prom. There's some of that sort of stuff. Maybe you got some mini games. Maybe you just got these different scenes that play out in different ways, dialogue trees and stuff.
Yeah, dialogue trees. I'm picturing that there's definitely some, dances and stuff that happen. It's sort of like a typical community college or whatever.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I mean,
there's like a sports team, like jousting or something. Who's really respected, and then there's like the fucking, hockey team. Nobody cares about because they have to play in the fields covered in horse shit.
I'm picturing that there's like the night school annex that, that's where all the jocks end up going, because they're all trying to learn to be
knights. Yeah, they want to get that scholarship to night school. I like that as a... That's like their goal, but it's like nobody makes it up there because, usually it's only people of more classier blood who get to be knights. But there's like that, they do have that scholarship, like one serf every year gets to have a scholarship to night school.
Yeah, I love it.
That's really cool. All right, do you want to click? Sacrificial misdemeanor.
Drunk hat. For some reason, I see this as a Harry Potter-esque thing where the Sorting Hat got drunk.
The Sorting Hat's drunk? But, better be... Gryffindor.
Griffithin.
Slither, Clorin, Puffer, Huffle. What? Why is there a kid up my ass?
Oh, God.
Every time I drink, I wake up with it. Some kid's head in my crevice. All right. No,
okay, what were your words again?
Sacrificial misdemeanor. So I'm kind of... I was picturing a scene where, like, you know, there's the classic... I don't know. There's something where it's like, oh, you know, usually it'd be, I'm going to do something for you and I'll end up going to prison because I'm going to sacrifice myself to commit this crime. Mm-hmm. Except it's just like littering or something. But then someone making some huge dramatic scene out of dropping a fucking candy wrapper in front of a cop or something, mm-hmm. so that one of their friends can get away.
Okay.
I'm not sure where the game is in that.
So, the sort of game that I'm seeing in, you know, just with these words of sacrificial and drunken hat, I kind of get the feeling of like a Banjo-Kazooie sort of open world running around 3D platformer.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking that you've got like an anthropomorphic hat that got drunk, and your whole thing is all about getting it home, but there's also, you know, misdemeanors that happen on the way.
Is this set in a contemporary modern world? Except that there's like platforms everywhere.
No, I think this is, you know, the sort of fantasy world.
It's like a whimsical
sort of world, but I'm sort of picturing almost a dude where's my car sort of cast of characters of different groups that you're coming across, and you know, they're all trying to basically get this hat that you happen to have like stolen in your maybe you had a drunken stupor and you've stolen this hat, and okay. And like everyone else is now trying to go after.
All right, I'm on board because I love the idea of the game starting with that typical like wake up in bed and like rolling over. And the hat is there.
Yeah, and talking to you.
And then it's like, what the fuck? Where did this hat come from? And they're like, hey, the hat starts talking. It's just like, hey, baby, you took me home.
We had some wild times last night. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Well, does the hat remember, though? The hat remembers maybe fragments.
We got wasted last night.
We got wasted, man. Oh, my God.
Thanks for getting me away from my owner, but I don't remember what happened after that. And
so, okay, really important. Mm-hmm. What sort of hat?
It's a big floppy hat.
Are we talking top hat? Are we talking fedora? We're talking floppy sun hat? We're talking beret? We're talking pie...
Because it's more mystical. It's definitely a floppier sort of hat. I'm thinking,
wizard hat.
Yeah, but then that's too sorting
elf hat.
So yeah, I'm thinking
Willy Wonka hat.
Oh, I do like the idea of like the adventuring cap that what's his name King Graham had in King's Quest. It's like a
little peaked
hat,
like a Robin Hood sort of peaked hat. Okay,
with a feather in it.
With a feather in it. No, I think the hat lost its feather, and that's one of the first things you have to do. Well, that's one of the clues you get to tracking down.
But I'm seeing
events of the previous night.
All the different groups that you end up coming across are like the misdemeanor was you trying to take the. You stole the hat, so you know that's the misdemeanor. You got drunk, therefore you can't remember everything, and the sacrificial comes from one of the cults who have been trying to track down this hat. Want to perform sacrifices or some sort of ritual with it
because it's a one of a kind magical talking hat,
and so kind of like they're you know the Zoltar sort of characters.
By the way, it's called a Bycocket. So there you go. A Bycocket hat.
But there's something about like a Banjo-Kazooie style, you know, hub world, different levels that you sort of go into, and each...
Yeah, totally. You can maybe, you unlock a few of them at different times, so you can take some of them non-linearly to sort of... And I think you're like unlocking memories or something of the previous night. It's like, okay, you finished this level, you unlocked 10:15 to 10:32.
And you can extend how much you actually remember of this block of time by collecting all the collectibles.
Yeah, exactly. By collecting all the feathers.
Yeah. All the, the individual strands of the feather that you can now put back together.
Well, just like all the, I don't know, the tickets from fucking, I don't know, I'm trying to think of things that you'd gather across a drunken evening. Coasters.
I don't know, there's just something about that style of game, that cartoony, sort of mystical, magical, Nintendo 64 era.
I'm definitely getting a Conker's Bad Fur Day vibe of like that kind of, aesthetic, but with a more adult themed,
which is what Conker's Bad Fur Day is.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I'm getting those vibes. I don't think you go as juvenile necessarily as Conker. I think, but just more of this, not that fucking Dude Where's My Car isn't juvenile, but
it's very juvenile.
It's a little bit more clever in its juvenility, though.
Yes.
I feel like it's got some self-awareness. Dude, what's mine say? Sweet. Yeah, that could be fun. I could see that. And so there's the big, I guess the boss is like the old owner of this hat who was abusing it in some way.
Yeah, I'm kind of
not
seeing
taking
it,
care of
like,
it.
if you remember the Hangover,
never even oiled my brim.
If you remember the Hangover, where you had like the Mike Tyson character who had like the tiger and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. The idea of bringing in like
we should get an actual celebrity. Who is it? It's Benedict Cumberbatch. I feel like he'd have a hat like that.
Does he really want to play an evil version of himself?
I mean, yes, probably. Bycocket Cumberhat.
Oh god. What sort of graphical style are you seeing?
I mean, you were talking about doing that cartoony kind of vibe. Yeah. I kind of like that, except maybe with a bit more gloominess in it. Like, it's still cartoonish and colourful, but there's levels where you're like, oh, it's the dark alley level because we, took a shortcut through the.
So rather than going the pure Nintendo 64, do we go like the cell shading of like Zelda, Wind Waker, but have that gloominess in certain levels, have that bright and happy sort of aesthetic that sort of shows all the way through, but then you've got these really dark and nasty, nasty levels and nasty themes that occur, especially in the sacrificial area where, you enter the sacrificial room in this one particular part and there's blood everywhere and it's like, oh shit.
Totally.
We're really in it now.
Yeah. And that's that platforming level where it's basically the equivalent of the ice level, but because there's blood everywhere, you slide. And it's just really annoying, sliding off ledges and things. Okay, since this is a platformer, let's think, does this hat in maybe any sort of, without making too many connections to Mario Odyssey, do you have platforming, moves based on this hat?
I think so. I think it's an adventuring hat. You put this hat on, and it basically gives you those typical video game powers. And
okay,
and I sort of see this hat being able to convert some random piece of garbage that you pick up in this one level into, oh, that's actually something that I can.
That's the
use
key to the
give us a
secret
double jump
door,
or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Wait, does that mean that everyone around you finds it completely fucking insane when you double jump?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What? How did you... I don't understand. That defied the laws of physics.
And you say, I got this magical hat.
And then the end of it is you wake up and this was actually your drunken night, and you do have a hat that it's not magical, it's just normal, and your roommate comes in and is like, oh, you would like telling people you could double jump and then you'd like try to jump over their head and climb on them and knock them down, and I'm pretty sure you got arrested, and I think you killed like a lamb or something. There was blood everywhere.
God, now I think about it, like the perfect like audience for this sort of game are people who were, you know, playing the old Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day and that sort of stuff in the Nintendo 64 area, except they're older and more mature now. They want to relive some of those glory days while having a deep and meaningful story between a person and their hat. Yeah. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
You got to tell me. Don't click off it.
Cockiest circumcision.
That is awesome. Distinguishing ancient.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure all circumcisions are pretty cocky.
Yeah. And when I put distinguishing ancient against it, I started thinking, okay, the only way to determine this particular mummified corpse is by the distinguishing the different circumcision marks.
The specific circumcision that went wrong. No, when you said ancient, distinguishing ancient, I thought of like a giant idol with a circumcised penis.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe it's being worshipped in some way.
Yep.
Or a giant idol with an uncircumcised penis, and some like sect of their religion comes and circumcises it.
Circumcises the brass.
Well, I was picturing stone, and they come along with their fucking chisel and hammer, and the whole town wakes up. And that's why it's so cocky. And the whole town wakes up one day, and their huge stone, like fertility idol, has been circumcised.
Just clip the tip.
Well, and don't take the whole thing off. Yeah. I think there's a game there, though.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a game.
So I'm almost picturing, like sort of like a tribe simulator kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you're like managing a tribe in some way, and
yeah, by
worshipping this hugely penised idol, you gain the pleasure of the gods or whatever.
Yep. And
so maybe it's a competitive thing, or and maybe circumcising the enemy's like idol is just one of the things you can do to like embarrass them, or like put them in on the bad side of the gods.
Yeah. God, this is going into some weird sort of places. I'm just thinking that I do like that idea of the idol, like, you know, having some sort of blessing on this community.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like the idea that there's an alternate village who come along and circumcise this idol.
Yep.
And what it does for the community is actually sort of reduce the fertility in the community. Like, this is a fertility idol.
Takes away some sensation of the general sort of community.
I'm just saying that like, it turns out that this idol was everyone, you know, it was a very it's very fertile sort of community. Like, they had lots of kids all the time, and you know, right. Sort of fast forwards, you know, 2-3 years later, and the population is starting to decline because,
right, like, no one can get pregnant since this vile act
this happened
against their their sacred.
So it's
idol.
all about setting out to make things right.
Okay, so is this then just this is like the prologue to a game that sets someone on their hero's journey?
Yeah,
to beg forgiveness from their gods or something.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those games where the gods, you know, it's not
will come down and kind of walk amongst the.
Yeah, so you got to go up, you know, sort of like Death Stranding, you're going across the countryside and all that sort of stuff, going to a particular mountain in the distance or something like that. And at the top of the mountain, you can actually convene with the gods. And
sorry, I just pictured in the vein of Death Stranding that you're carrying this idol with you and having to like balance it with this just giant cock just hanging off.
But it's sort of strapped to the back of you, facing towards the camera, so you see the big cock.
No, I was picturing that it was a much more massive object, part of the landscape kind of thing. But I don't know, maybe you've got mini versions of it for some reason.
So I'm picturing that the idol lives in this huge temple, and it's in an alternate world. So it's not like a human-based idol or something like that. You know, it's nothing from any of our religions here. It's sort of like... Yeah.
No, I think you'd make up sort of you'd come up with an interesting look for what a vaguely humanoid sculpture with a giant penis with very obvious foreskin would look like. And then obviously the cut version of it as well.
Yeah, but every time that you see it, it always happens to be perfectly covered up by, like, you know, a tea set or something, like, in just the way they frame it. You know, it's like, oh my god, it's been cut off.
Just show the whole thing. Don't need to be prudish about it. No, I do kind of like the idea of this as it's very much a travel-based game, though.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't played Death Stranding, but I know a lot of it is kind of about just getting around, right? Mm. And so, yes, I could kind of picture that. Like, basically, you're on this long journey between these different points. Like, yeah, the first is you have to get up this mountain to a temple there to convene with one particular god. And then they send you to, okay, now you have to find, like, this particular crook in the river that's down there. And you can see it from the mountain. And it's like, it's this huge world that you're traversing.
Yeah.
And so coming up with
side quests and stuff like that you're doing along the way.
Side quests and stuff, but making the traversal itself interesting.
Yep.
And maybe even like each god gives you a blessing or something that gives you basically an extra move sort of thing. So maybe you get up the top of this mountain and then that god gives you something that effectively lets you like ski down slopes. So that getting down from that mountain is like way easier and way more fun now, and you can utilize that to like get up speed and get over jumps or I don't know, do different things. Like it's actually really traversal based.
I think one of the mid-game sort of ones is a grappling hook so that you can, like, grapple yourselves between, you know, up the mountain. Well, that's it. I kind of love
this idea that by the end of the game, you've got, like, you can, like, slide down a hill, go up over a jump, pull out your glider, glide across, grapple onto this overhang, swing, like, really, you're basically just flying across this landscape by the end of it.
And hopefully your stomach can handle it because it's all in VR.
No, I like this as a...
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could do that, but... yeah, I like that idea of a real traversal-based game. And then you can have just a lot of different environments, come up with interesting gods. Like, I don't think we take these from any existing mythology or religion. We just... basically, you are on the path to find... this fertility god.
Yep.
Semos. And the gods along the way are like setting you just on the next path to him. And they're all different. Yeah. God of the mountain, god of the sun, god of or the sky or whatever, and they give you sort of traversal gifts related to their specific area.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like this.
Yeah. And then you get to Semos and beg his forgiveness.
And he goes,
and he's just like,
for what?
Actually, yeah, he's like, let me show you something. He drops his pants and he is circumcised.
No, he drops his pants. He's just a Ken doll.
That's because he gave you his penis.
The power was inside you all along.
The penis was inside. No. The penis was inside you all along. Okay.
And they actually said the reason why you've had trouble conceiving is because everyone's been using condoms and practicing safe sex.
Wait, you mean You mean those lambskins that we wear for pleasure have some sort of effect on our fertility? They're so ribbed for our pleasure.
There's a big...
There's just actual ribs. They use actual ribs.
Jesus Christ. 3, 2, 1, click. I'm glad this didn't come up on the last one. Cute
Me too.
packaging.
Swinging spectacle.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, yeah? Check out this swinging spectacle. Okay.
For some reason, I get these grapple mechanics again, but it's all about the swings.
Well, I know, yeah. Is this more of a... I do like a game with a grappling hook.
Mm-hmm.
Is this some sort of delivery-based game where you have a grappling hook?
Mm-hmm. It's sort of cutesy graphics. I'm seeing
this... Okay, that could just be where the cute comes in. Almost like a... And this isn't necessarily cutesy, but like a Jet Set Radio kind of deal.
Oh, I was actually thinking more along the lines of a Super Meat Boy or something like that, but with grappling hooks. You know, sort of like one of those Twitch-based... Yeah,
like one of those, you know,
Celeste
difficult...
Super difficult, but in this case...
super quick retries.
In this case, it's all about the movement with the grappling hook.
It's all around grappling. Okay. Is there an element then of delivering something though? Because that could add something to it. Where to get through a level, like maybe you can carry the package, but it'll change your weight in some way, and so you'll have a screen where it's like, okay, I can get up to here with the package, but then I have to leave the package here so that I can swing up to this higher point and like open a door and come back down, get the package, get through.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like seeing how Celeste sort of changed everything with, you know, the double jump mechanics, the shooting forward and all this sort of stuff. I think if you came up with some really cool like grappling mechanics for one of these Twitch based,
it could be interesting to. Okay, so one of the things with a grapple that is often annoying is aiming it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not always super easy to when you're like flying through midair to necessarily hit like, okay, this is where I'm going to hit this grapple. Do we have it a bit more like kind of like the Spider-Man 3D games where you will grapple to a certain point based on where you are and where you're facing?
Where you are, where you're facing, you know. So if you want to jump out, turn around, grapple onto you know where you just came from and swing underneath. You know, that's something that you know is going to happen because that's the closest.
That's sort of what I mean. Yeah, to make it more predictable.
It's the closest thing to you, so therefore you're sure that it's pretty close to you that's going to happen. But if you just drop down and, you know, this thing goes down for quite a while and then cuts under, you can drop for a while, shoot out, and you know that it's going to hit right on that corner.
It's going to hit like the corner. Under. Yeah. Well, and you could even have like a little kind of reticle kind of thing where it's highlighting where you will hit at any point, and maybe even showing like in a lighter kind of color the nearby points or something, so you know what it's going to hit, but you also know that there's another point if you move a little bit, like if you wait a little bit further and you're going, you know, to the right of the screen, that then it's going to sort of select onto that next point.
Yeah, I think as you've got, you know, your as you've got your grapple button held down, it sort of highlights where it's going to go to, and when you let go, it just it fires out to exactly where you're going to.
Yeah, maybe. Or I was more thinking they're just there all the time. Well, unless it was like a hold left trigger to sort of arm your grapple, and then hold right trigger to actually fire it. Because I think an important part of the grapple mechanic is being able to like fire it out and then let go.
Oh yeah, whenever you want.
Yeah. And then sort of fire it out quickly again. So if you want to do a sort of swing thing. But the other thing I was thinking is it could be interesting to...
My issue with that, though, is that you're always holding down left trigger, Ben. You know, if you're holding down left trigger all the time and then you're having to push right trigger, can you then let go of left trigger and start up the next one to scan ahead of where you are and that sort of stuff? Or
I was kind of picturing you'd always be holding... Yeah, you would just about always... Like, while you're using the grappling hook, you're holding down left trigger. I wonder if one of the face buttons actually would be better for... No, because you want to be using those for, like, attacks and stuff.
Yep.
Because I'm picturing you can definitely, like... You know, you hit X while you're swinging and it does, like, a swing kick kind of thing or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of like the idea that Celeste and all those sort of did. This is strictly traversal. It's not about
combat.
It's not about combat. It's about traversing an environment.
Mm. Okay.
So it's all about delivering this package. You know, cute sort of almost going back to cell shaded graphics.
Mm.
Having those sort of Disney-esque cartoony graphics. So it's not pixel.
Okay, like kind of, yeah. Right, you're thinking more looking like
anime or
graphics. With sort of fairly smooth animation.
Fairly smooth animation. It's definitely not that typical indie pixel look, but it's also...
it's like animated on 2s or something or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so you got like 12 frames of animation per second or something.
Yeah.
Like more like a Cuphead-ish style. Like not the style
definitely.
necessarily, but that quality of...
Yeah, that quality of animation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I could see that. As long as the issue, I think part of the problem with that animation style often is the responsiveness. Like you need to, because to really get a responsive sort of platformer, you need to often be snapping from one animation to another.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess you just have to be aware of that, but you could probably do it in a way where it worked.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you actually did it in that sort of, I'm seeing if you had, say, the graphical fidelity of SteamWorld Dig, which does have that pretty good animation. It's not pixel and all this sort of stuff.
Pretty good level.
Pretty
of detail.
much, you put some bones in there. Basically, you're aiming out with your arms. So your arms are sort of, they're moving out. The second that you start aiming, it can just switch to aiming that, but your legs are still running and doing whatever else it needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get into some challenging things there with the animation style, I think. But anyway, we're probably going way too technical on this one, and it's not actually interesting to listen to, but I don't know, hopefully it was. But no, I think that could be a really cool mechanic for that sort of traversal, difficult puzzle sort of game.
Yep.
And definitely getting different sort of skills or things as you move on, like maybe being able to attach and reel in to like hold on to something so that you can, when you've got obstacles that are moving and stuff and where you have to get the timing right, you might want to, grapple but quickly reel yourself into that spot and then let go and grapple to the next bit and reel yourself in. That sort of thing. And,
you can even get like the catapult sort of thing where you fire out two at once and sort of launch yourself through a gap and
a second grab. Yeah. Or even just like some sort of booster so that while you're swinging, you can really get your momentum up quickly in, just for a short burst or something. But, if you want to go vertical, effectively, you can grapple onto something, swing all the way around until you're, at the sort of peak of your swing and fire your booster and let go and just like fire straight up and get onto an upper platform or something.
Definitely.
That's cool.
That is really cool. Okay, let's click again.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, click.
I'm not sure whether we can do anything with this or not, but I had a little inkling. Convex hugger.
Underlying storage.
Okay. So I saw hugger and thought face hugger and thought aliens.
Yeah.
Convex is actually interesting for storage because, that could just be talking about the shape of something.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing like almost like bulging out. Underlying storage, it sort of rings to me of like a basement or an attic.
Okay. Now I'm getting the image of like the bulging door of a basement. Like, one of those, like the outer angled doors to go down to a basement.
Yep.
Like the wooden sort of shutters.
Mm-hmm.
Bulging outwards.
Yep.
With something that's down there. And then just like, and then bursting out these like face hugger-esque aliens.
Yep. Okay, so where is this set? I'm thinking America because that's where you find basements.
that sort of basement. Yeah, I mean, do we go the kind of classic
Middle America,
like in the 80s or 90s?
Sort of set around the time of arachnophobia.
Yeah, I was getting an arachnophobia vibe. Yeah.
Just quiet, small town. You've just moved into the town.
Well, Well, either that or I was almost thinking this event has happened before you got there and you're now sort of coming into this town that's dealing with this infestation.
Okay, so do these face huggers, when they attach themselves to someone, does it sort of like do a body snatcher sort of thing where this person now looks the same but acts totally different?
Or is it like that Rick and Morty episode where they act totally different, but also you can see that they have a giant face hugger on their face? No, I don't know. I was almost thinking that, like, I don't know that this is full-on alien face hugger. I wonder if the ones that burst out are, like, quite small, and they almost have to work their way up through creatures of different sizes.
Okay.
So that first, like, batch that bursts out of this basement, because there's some sort of breeding ground there, you know, whatever, they're, like, attaching themselves onto mice and, I don't know,
small
large
cats.
Cockroaches. Well, then that's the next phase. No, but like I think there's a gestation phase at each point. And so, I mean, we do have to figure out what the effect is essentially, but because I'm picturing, okay, you're coming into this town and the whole like process is it's got to the point of like mid-sized animals. So it hasn't worked its way up to people yet, but there's obviously something fucked up going on here.
See, I straight away saw, like, the whole town getting together for, like, you know, the football game. And someone's throwing, you know, a quarterback grabs the football and throws it. On the football, there's a face hugger. Like, and it was about to crawl down onto his hand, but he threw it. And so when the opposition intercepts the ball, the face hugger just goes straight onto the opposition's face, and like that's where everyone learns about this and goes crazy.
I think these aren't face huggers. I think maybe they're like
earwigs,
spine huggers.
Sort of thing?
No, I think they're like somewhere else in the body that can be hidden, so it's not obvious. And then you've almost got a zombie situation where it's like, has this person got one on them? Have they been?
My mind just went to a shirts versus skins basketball competition.
Yeah,
they take off their shirts, and you know you see one guy's back, just to fine. The bases. Two guys back, it's fine. Third guy's back, there's a massive face hugger, like back hugger there, and everyone just goes nuts and like.
Yeah, totally. Well, and so the other thing is, does this? What's the process like? So it attaches to their back, and I think that makes sense because it kind of starts taking over their nervous system effectively, like it taps into their spine.
And this process is known as puppeteering.
Sure, I like that because it's literally like little tendrils grabbing their fucking nerves.
Yeah. And at first they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think it just gives them impulses to move in certain ways. Like, maybe it doesn't actually take over their mind
at first. I think that's something that happens later on.
Maybe, or is it one of these situations where it just puppeteers them to their death once it's kind of fed enough to move up to the next kind of level of creature.
But then you got these people going, no, don't come anywhere near me. I've got a puppet on the back of my.
But maybe they don't know necessarily. Maybe there's like an anesthetic, like a leech or something, right?
I can't move my arms and I'm doing weird shit. Like it kind of falls apart the second that they go, I don't want to be killing this person and I'm choking them.
Okay, but if it happens in sort of phases and happens slowly, and people are going to be in denial about it, and it's not necessarily at like right away because if you're getting there really early before it's attached to humans, then like maybe everyone's like, oh well, it's only the animals, and so you're seeing the first situations of it, and so yes, like maybe you get to the point where once someone realizes they've got one on them, But I mean, they can be yelling at people to get away, but this thing's fucking controlling them to run after those people. Like, there's still some pretty cool situations where the body is acting completely contrary to what the face and mind is doing.
I like that the final situation is that, you know, the parasite takes over the brain. Because then you got the sort of situation of, oh, it's all fine now, and it's like, oh, good, they're not yelling out anymore.
Okay. I don't think it takes over the brain. I think it takes over the mouth and the vocal cords.
Okay, yep.
Because then you can have some really fucked up situations where, this
it's
person
reached
is
up
like,
to the
get
mouth,
away from me. There's a thing.
But the eyes are like trying to screaming.
The eyes are screaming still. While this thing in this weird croaky voice is just like, no, it's all fine.
Oh, God.
They'd have to have some good fucking facial capture animation for that. No, that's cool. I like that. I think the game is sort of a adventure-y, Uncharted-esque kind of third person. I don't know if you'd have full-on combat, but maybe fight scenes. Like,
I'm seeing it almost like
brawler, almost not a mass brawler, but like you'll have some scenes where you have to like take someone out because they're trying to attack you because they've got a fucking spine sucker on them.
SS spine
puppeteer. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so we're going to do one final game. This is a little bit different. Trevor has a game idea generator, essentially, in front of him, and he's going to give me some aspects of an actual sort of randomly generated game design, not just words, and we're going to see what we can do with it. So, Trevor, lay it on me.
A game where you play as a penniless adventurer who needs to save the world from a student from another dimension.
Interesting.
So I like the dimension thing.
A past version of themselves.
Could be.
That could be the twist. That could be something. There could be a twist where not only is this person from another dimension, but they're like actually the same person from that dimension.
But they split at a certain point.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've diverged, and maybe they are disfigured in some way, so you can't immediately tell.
Or the penniless adventurer is disfigured in some way because,
or maybe just had a hard life and Plus, the other person's wearing glasses and has a goatee. So.
I do kind of like the idea of like you play, someone who's homeless, who happens to be the only one, maybe a veteran of a war or something like that. Who's had some issues, and then all of a sudden he's sort of called up as,
That could be interesting if they're even like disabled in some way through this, like they've lost their legs or something like that. So
they thought they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but they're the ones
who led them to this.
They viewed this student from another dimension arrive on this plane or on this world. And they appear to be the only ones who actually believe that this has actually happened.
Yeah. Well, and so I kind of thinking about the intentions of this student. I think describing them as a student, it'd be interesting if they've come here to study this dimension in some way.
But them being here is like tearing apart the fabric of reality.
Yeah, like it's endangering this world. But I think right. I don't think you find that out right away. I think the start of it is essentially your character befriending this person.
Ooh, I do kind of like
a
that,
little bit.
That
about what happens
halfway through the game, you realise that this student being here is actually ripping apart the fabric of this reality, and is sort of causing people to go missing and people to
I think they're just like falling through rips in dimensional space. Yeah, that's cool. I'm almost picturing this as a bit of a.
You walk into like a room, and like the clock stops. But as you move forward, it's like the clock sort of moves forward. But as you move back, it moves back, and it's like there's just this weird riff.
Get some classic Braid vibes going on, but in an adventure-y sort of situation. Yeah, well, I'm picturing a very sort of Life is Strange kind of vibe almost, where you do have some sort of almost puzzle-ish mechanics going on, but also it's a big part of it is just a sort of traditional adventure narrative. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then the big twist is finding out that this is actually you from this dimension. You sort of get to the point where you are discussing your past and realizing that up to a certain point it's identical.
Yeah, but I think this student actually knew the whole time. Because I think it's one of these things where the student had to lock onto his own DNA from the other universe to actually how it worked, there. How he could actually get to this universe. I kind of like the idea that,
because then there's a betrayal as well,
and the only way to actually save this world is to actually send the student either back or onto the next dimension.
Oh, that's kind of a cool thing. Like they can't send them back. Can't go back
because there's no DNA link in that place anymore. So,
well, then you're setting it up for sequels.
Yeah, basically you're setting it up that this student has to keep on leaping between dimensions.
in some sort of quantum manner.
Yeah, in some sort of quantum manner, while sliding between dimensions as well. It's sort of...
I do like that,
slide? Does that ring a bell? Quantum slide.
Leapers. That takes me backula. So I do like this idea though of the final, that sacrifice at the end of like, you can't go back, but you can't stay here, and they're basically setting themselves up to say, oh yeah, I'm just going to have to keep studying and like studying different dimensions, but I can't stay in any of them for too long because of the damage that it'll do to them, and maybe one day I'll find my way home.
But I'm seeing that this veteran sort of, he almost having lived through this whole thing, gets somewhat of a better view on life
on
after
his own life,
and I don't want to say he was wrong to sort of have mental issues after going through a war or something like that. I think it's more that he's now able to work through it a little bit better and he's better equipped to...
Yeah, I think, and again, it's true, like you do have to be careful with that sort of thing, because I don't think, if he's dealing with PTSD or just depression, like that's not just solved by having a cool experience, like that's a chemical imbalance. But yes, I do like that idea that it gives him a new perspective, so that maybe he starts medicating better and starts achieving again, and goes back to science. Maybe it was that, the sort of the split between those two people was he joined the army, like he went to war, he had to make a decision, or there was a draft or something. Whereas otherwise, he would have gone into like continued studying. Quantum fucking mechanics or whatever, but that he goes back to it then later in life.
Yeah,
that's cool. I really like that idea a lot.
There's something about this idea that just rings original, pretty much. Like,
yeah. I like it. That's cool. I was trying to come up with a John Rhys Davies joke, but I did not. Who was the main actor in Sliders? What's his fucking name?
Jerry
O'Connell.
Yep.
Jerry O'Connell? No. Yeah? That's all right. All right, I think we will finish the episode there. If you want to find us online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Check out all of our previous episodes. We're coming up on 200 real fast. I don't know what we're doing for it, but There's a lot of backlog there. I actually spent a little bit of time clicking back through all of our old titles today.
Mm-hmm.
And man, there's a fuckload of stuff there. So
Minecraft, but for spiders.
Yeah. Veronica Fizzlesticks, Wizard Lawyer. That's a good one. Go and check those episodes out and leave us a review, leave us a comment, whatever. Follow us on there. You'll get updates on new episodes and all sorts of shit. Also, we are part of the 8-Bit Collective, and this is a group of podcasters all around pop culture and gaming and, variety of different things. Lots of great shows there. Go to 8bit.net, check them out, support the Patreon. Do it.
Check out at AGP Network or search for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook for all your Australasian gaming podcast needs. And also, thank you to Kuridos for the use of the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. But Ben, I love you. I know I'm a house. We can make this work.
Swing my door like that once more.